Let's see.
How do you move that off right here? Who's that? Oh, that's
What you call
Erica.
Okay.
Oh, there's the mayor.
All right, so we've got a quorum here, so we can go ahead and get started. If you're not speaking, I'm going to ask you to please mute your phones to eliminate the background noise. It's very hard for everyone to hear if there's background noise. And if you don't know how to mute yourself, I can do it for you. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending our special Borough Council meeting. This meeting is to replace the meeting from September 1st that we weren't able to have. So I'm going to read, actually, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Kayla, can you lead the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I'm sorry. And united for which it stands, one nation, under God, and the liberty and justice of all.
Thank you. Can you read the invocation, please?
Yes. Almighty Father, as we stand before you this evening, we ask for your guidance and wisdom in all matters which come before this governing body, and that we may always be aware of the needs of the people of this community. Grant us the patience and the understanding to lead and direct others in the very best manner possible. We ask all this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975. Notice of this meeting was posted on the Borough of Penns Grove Municipal Bulletin Board designed for that purpose. Notice was also posted on the Borough of Penns Grove website and was emailed to the official newspapers provided by resolution. Clerk, can you do a roll call, please?
Mr. Burkett,
Here.
Miss Mincy,
Here.
Mr. Oliver,
Here.
Mr. Pasquale,
Here.
Miss Scott,
Here.
All right. So before we get started, this is going to be a very hybrid, quick meeting. We are here on a Friday evening. I'm sure everyone is disappointed about that, including myself. We all have things to do, so let's make this as quick as possible. All right, we're going to start with payment of the bills and approval of the bill list. May I have a motion?
I have a question on some of the bill, a couple of the bills.
Go ahead.
On the Lento bill, it says that Carol Mincy versus Washington, $5,759. This was not authorized by the Borough Council to initiate a court hearing against Mr. Washington.
That's why we're doing that in a closed meeting, Lou. We're not talking about that in this meeting. That's still being worked on. We can't talk about that right now. It's not on the agenda. We're going to have a closed meeting next week to discuss that.
Is that part of the bills? Is that part of the bills that we're authorizing?
It should not be at this time. Mr. Lento, is that part of the bills now?
That's for Sharon Davis, not mine.
It's already been provided.
I'm sorry. There's some background noise. What was that?
Yes, it is. Service has been provided.
Okay.
And it was defending the entire Borough Council.
Borough Council didn't know anything about it.
Yes, I don't know what that is.
Before we move forward, I need all public officials to have their cameras on. The public needs to see you. They need to know that it's you that is speaking. So please turn your cameras on. I can see you. Yes, I can see you, Mark. I can see Carol. Lou, please turn your camera on.
Debbie. I'm
Is
not
Debbie-
on the camera. I'm on the phone.
I'm trying to get on, but my camera, I don't think is working. Like died, I think.
That's your voice.
All right. So what's your next question?
If that's part of the bills that we're authorizing, then we shouldn't authorize it.
So,
Yeah, we're
Steve,
going to discuss it later in a closed session.
okay, Steve, can you remove that from the bill list right now? Is Mr. Lab on the call?
I think Erica's on.
Hi, Erica.
I can't believe I can't find that thing.
Erica, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
No, I wasn't. Steve was on mute still.
Oh, okay, okay.
We know exactly where it is.
No, you're still on mute.
How about now?
How about now?
You hear me, Ms. Mayor?
Can you hear me, Ms. Mayor?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, we can authorize payment, and what I'll do is I'll hold about one section on hold, so we'll take it out. We'll take it out of the bill list.
There's one other issue too, the matter with the chief for
We can't talk about that,
$4,600.
Lou, right now. We have to talk about that in a closed session. We cannot talk about that right now.
Yeah, we're talking about a bill though.
Folks, and I would second that, like, any discussions regarding those matters should not be taking place at this time. And additionally yes, it would have to take place in closed session. And additionally, anybody who's not on camera, everybody should be on camera, any council members. In particular, if a vote is to be taken, we don't know who's in fact there, not making any aspersions, of course, but just due to the nature of what needs to take place, anybody who's not on the camera should either abstain from voting or should take steps to be on camera at this time, please.
I'll try to work on it.
Lou, do you have any further questions?
Just the two, that's all.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, or can someone make a motion for the payment of bills minus those 2 bills that we just discussed?
I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills minus the 2 we just discussed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second it.
Okay. Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Burchell,
Yes.
Ms. Mincy,
Hey, it worked.
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Again, any members, council members who are not on video should be abstaining from voting or should be on video.
Why is that? Why is that?
Is that a requirement?
to see,
Why is that?
for the reasons that I explained a moment ago, we need to see who's voting.
Well, you know who I am already.
When they recognize your
She was
voice.
given the code.
Yeah, some people don't have the luxury of having a video camera, video phone.
She's got a computer. Yeah, but I'm going to stay on the phone.
And you have to make the determination in that regard, is just my advice in this regard.
Mayor, we can't hear you.
Sorry. I'm going to apologize up front. My dogs are barking and it's very noisy. Okay, so moving on, approval of minutes. Can we have a motion for the approval of the July 8th, 2020 minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
May we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's 3 people. That's three votes.
Aye.
I said aye.
Oh, you did?
I did say aye, didn't
I don't know.
I? Okay, we got enough. Move on.
We got 4 ayes.
Right. All right, moving on to the August 5th minutes. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve August 5th minutes.
I have a question. The minutes are not correct. There's things that have been left out of those minutes that were stated by one of the members of the public that need to be modified because the minutes are not correct.
Which one? August 5th?
Yes.
Kelly?
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next meeting then. Mr. Oliver, whatever it is that was left out, can you just send an email so we can make sure that they're included or make sure that they need to be included?
Yes, I'll have to get with Sharon to listen to the transcript because there's a lot of things that were said that are not in the minutes.
can I say something?
Okay,
Can I speak about the minutes?
Yes.
The minutes are not verbatim. That's why we have the recording on available. Whoever wants to Oprah request it. What is it that you were looking for? Because those were the minutes that I can't hear you.
I said there were some key points in the minute that were not in the minutes that were stated by Mr. Hudson regarding threatening me and it wasn't going to be peaceful and he was going to do certain things and he's not going to be peaceful. None of that was in the minutes.
That then?
Mayor and council, understand the concern there, but the minutes are to reflect the actions and the business that is conducted by the governing body. Again, as Kayla had stated, they're not verbatim. It is to reflect the actions and motions taken by the governing body. So it's not that the minutes are incorrect. We can include that. It's not an issue, but just to put that out there so that everybody understands the purpose of the minutes. We can't capture every word that comes out of your mouth.
I understand, but the context of the
No, I
statement
understand that.
is
That's why I
not
said it's
included.
not a problem to include it, but it's not that the minutes are incorrect. They're just not drafted in the verbatim sense that you're looking for.
Yeah, let me change what I'm saying. They did not include key points of the conversation.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll approve these minutes next meeting.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Public portion for agenda items only. This portion of the meeting is provided for comments on the agenda items only. There will be a public portion later in the meeting for general comments. If you have any comments, please state your name and address for the record. May I have a motion to open to the public for the agenda items only?
Motion to open to the public.
May we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone from the public want to address or ask questions about the agenda items?
I lost the agenda.
There it is. Let's see. I'm just checking to see if there's any raised hands. If not, we will move on. Okay. All right. Motion to close public portion on agenda items.
Motion to close.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
May we have a, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right. Next section, introduction of resolutions for consideration by consent. All right, may we have a motion?
Oh, Miss Mayor,
Yes,
we want to do resolution 2020-9-133 first. That's emergency appropriation resolution. This resolution authorizes funding for the demolition of their properties that were mandated by the state to take down. So we have to vote on that first, and then we can go to the consent.
okay. May we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve 29-133, emergency appropriation.
May we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
133.
Mr. Burkieu,
Yes.
Miss Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
No.
Miss Scott,
Okay, now how are we paying for this?
Steve, can you explain to Ms. Scott?
Yes, once it's approved, on Monday, I will get in contact with bond counsel. We're gonna do funding through a bond anticipation note. That way, it pays back the borough the money that we're gonna front out for this. And this is gonna be payable over 10 years. Also, for the properties that are not borough-owned, for each of the demolished properties, a lien will be put on that property. If someone purchases that property, the borough will recoup the money from the lien.
Okay, so these are the ones, the burnt out ones on West Pittman that the
I believe-
owner should have been responsible for?
That is correct.
3 of them are.
Okay.
Well, 37's already been taken down, or they're working on taking it down.
Yeah, but I see that one in the list for to be demolished, but I thought he was doing that himself.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Mr. DeLuca.
37 Pittman Street, West Pittman is not included in this. The owner is going to take that down himself.
Yes.
And 78 North Broad Street was going to be addressed by Caesar.
No, it's not.
Not going to be addressed by Caesar.
So
And
my
let me-
only question,
Go ahead, Ms. Scott.
okay, my only question for the next time when we get into this situation that the ones that own these houses, they should be responsible before they get the insurance money.
Agreed. We need to tighten up that process. Ms. Carroll, were you saying something?
Can I say something here?
Go ahead.
I don't know how to raise my hand on this thing.
Okay.
The reason they wasn't responsible, because when Mr. Ramsey went to look, he didn't know we had a policy for that. He found out after the fact, because he checked.
Yeah, he did.
And he was told we didn't have it. So we now know we do have a fire policy. So this shouldn't happen again.
Yes. Yes, he had told me about it, that he had found it. So, I mean, I'm going to be in agreement because it needs to come, they need to come down. But the next time, I think we need to make them responsible.
I agree.
How about 110 Turner?
Not on the list.
That's not included in this right now. These properties that are included, these are the ones that the state of New Jersey has mandated that we demolish, and the date that they gave us was September 21st. We have to have these structures demolished, or at least in process of being demolished. And it's these properties that are listed. So that's why we're having an emergency.
Okay, so Mayor, do y'all have somebody in mind? Did bids go out for these?
No, we don't have, we're not getting bids, we're getting estimates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Scott? Is that a yes?
Yes. Yes.
Wait a minute, Madam Mayor, this is
Yes.
Mike Review. I have two quick questions. One, I have on resolution 29131, voiding the sale of the properties.
We're not, hold on, Mr. Burkut, we're not there yet. Hold your question until we get
Oh,
to
I
that.
thought you were voting on all the resolutions. No?
No, they're still voting on the resolution that we just finished. Let's just make sure that we got all the votes.
Oh, okay.
Did we get that's okay. Did we get all the votes, Kayla?
I received all the votes. Ms. Scott was the last one.
Okay.
So
All right.
No.
All right, Mr. Baku.
Okay, on the resolutions we're going to pass in one big lump sum.
Mm-hmm.
I have one or two questions on. I have one question on 29131, voiding the properties for sale. I understand all the reasons for doing that, but was there a letter sent out by our lawyer to him, and did he answer that letter by saying, "Yeah, I give up these properties"?
Mr. Lento, can you address that, please?
Yes, we sent several letters. He never answered.
Okay. And then the other one is resolution 29136, resolution adopting agenda policy. And that policy was written for meetings that were not on Tuesday. So I would like to have some of that wording changed to be
You said
days.
he was insinuating that he lost.
What?
I'm sorry, we had some background noise.
The agenda policy was amended to reflect that our meetings are on Tuesday. So I'm asking that everyone have their concerns or agenda items to me no later than the Monday, a week prior to the meeting, not the Monday prior to the meeting as it was originally written. And that was the amended policy. It's 2 pages, was sent to the entire governing body.
Oh, I must have missed that. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. All right. May we have a motion, please?
A motion for?
To adopt these.
Adopt all the resolutions for consideration.
consent.
Consent.
Well, I have a question about several of them, so.
Okay.
Okay, what are they? What's the first one?
Resolution adopting the agenda policy. What is the agenda policy currently? How do we add things to the agenda currently before we pass this? What is the procedure?
So Ed says Deli sent us all the agenda policy, so you would have to review that. We can't read it right now, but
No.
it.
I'm saying
What's the policy now? You say?
Mm-hmm. How do we add things to the agenda currently without passing this?
Mr. Lindo, could you answer that question, please? Or Sharon, either one.
I can. I go by between the mayor, council president, and Mr. Lento in drafting resolutions on behalf of the municipality. That's how things have been being added.
So is this governed by New Jersey statute 40A, 60-4 and 60-6-B?
It's based off of the state monitor and his
Right.
suggestion.
Right, and that's what the procedure that I just stated. And that does not state that you have to have 4 council members. It just states that they can be recommended or suggested by a council member. It doesn't have to be 4 people. Why are we changing it to
Our
4
agenda
people?
policy doesn't require 4 people. I believe it says 2 council people to put something on the agenda.
Yeah, that's correct. Why are we
That's what it
changing?
currently says.
Right.
Not currently, that's what would be, that's on the present, or the present policy if adopted tonight.
Would
The
be
present
2.
policy, the present policy that's in force currently. Is that correct?
Okay.
Folks, it's four people. First title, 4 requires
Yeah, I know.
4 people.
Yes,
But
but
the
my question,
policy that.
my question is the current policy, not this policy, not the policy
Oh,
that we're
okay.
proposing.
I
The policy
misunderstood.
that's in place now only requires 2. Why are we changing it to 4?
I didn't think it was changing it to 4. I think it lists 2. If you put it in place tonight.
Madam Mayor, can I make a comment?
Hold on.
Yo.
Point of order?
But hold on,
What you doing touching
you
something on
guys.
my trail?
Excuse me, you guys, everybody, please put your phones on mute.
Does it look like metal?
I'm gonna mute everybody. Hold on, everyone.
What does that mean?
You shouldn't even be on the meeting now.
I wanted to put this on because I want to buy it.
That call?
Come on!
That's Greg. That sounds like Greg
Greg, who?
Martin talking about metal.
Mayor,
What the?
The baby.
Mayor,
No more Zoom meetings.
Mayor.
Yes.
Hi, can you please table that so I could provide a legal opinion on that matter?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you please table that so I can provide a legal opinion on the matter?
Yes. Okay, so motion to table resolution for the agenda. Resolution adopting agenda policy, resolution 2020-9136. Motion to table.
Motion to table 29-136.
Second.
May we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Clerk, can you do roll call?
Mr. Becute,
Aye.
Ms. Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Okay. Now, what's your next one, Mark?
My next one is something that we keep getting into, and we keep getting told that we're not allowed to bring it up. But I would like to make a motion to rehire the chief and the other girl that was let go.
God.
Folks,
Understand how hard it is for you guys to understand that this is a personnel issue and you cannot discuss this right now. We will discuss it in closed meeting. I have told you guys this like 100 times, and I don't understand why it's so hard for you to comprehend that. It's a personnel issue. You can't talk about it in a public meeting. We have to talk about that in a closed meeting. And I will schedule a closed meeting next week for us to discuss it.
All right,
Okay?
thank you.
You're welcome.
Somebody asked us about this.
What's your next one, Mr. Oliver?
That's all regarding the ordinances. That's all my questions.
Okay. Now, may we have a motion to adopt these resolutions?
Motion to adopt the resolutions as stated.
Second.
Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Mr. Becute,
Yes.
Ms. Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
I abstain.
Ms. Scott,
Well, you still got on here, is Valentia stuff still on here?
yes.
I object to
Well,
Valencia.
I'm going to abstain right now.
He didn't come on and talk about it himself, so.
2 abstain and 3 yes.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
because we did this by consent, there are several resolutions that must be passed tonight or considered at least, especially the ones for the grant projects. If we do not, we will lose these grants. So I don't know how you want to move forward.
Can we go individually instead?
No, because we don't want to be here till 10 o'clock tonight. And that's why you guys should have read the agenda.
Folks, I thought we had 3 yeses on that.
Yes, yeah, we did.
Yeah, not the majority?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mentor.
Thank you.
Valencia, he ain't showing up for
All right. Moving on to the introduction of ordinances for the first reading. This is the first reading and introduction. The public hearing for these ordinances will be on October 6th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. So we have 2 ordinances here.
Can you advance the resolutions?
Oh, Kayla, can you scroll down, please?
Yes.
Can't see them all.
Thank you.
Sorry about that, guys. Oopsie.
I have another question. A question, it's not an ordinance question. It's about resolutions.
Okay, let's do these first and then we can come back to your question, Mark.
All right.
Okay. May we have a motion to adopt the first reading of these ordinances? So let's do, I'm sorry, we can't do this by consent, got to do it individually. So 2020-14.
Madam Mayor, point of order.
Yes.
In our last meeting, September 1st, there was some ordinance that I thought were important, and they were like 20-9, the bond ordinance for the capital improvements in the sewer plant, and ordinance 2010, an ordinance amending chapter 103 of the Code of Borough. Those 2 ordinances, I think, should have been added in with these other ones, but they were left out.
They were left out because we didn't have a meeting on September 1st. They were advertised for public hearing on September 1st.
Correct.
Because of the meeting and we're not knowing when the next meeting was going to be scheduled, the public has the right to know when that public hearing will be held. So I had to re-advertise, and therefore it wasn't enough time to meet this agenda.
Okay, are you going to advertise it for the next meeting? Is that okay?
Yes, I've already done that. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, motion to adopt 2020-14, and that's the ordinance creating a Citizens Police Advisory Board. May we have a motion to adopt for the introduction?
Motion to adopt.
May we have a second? Is there a second to adopt this ordinance for a Citizens Police Advisory Board? Okay, motion to table ordinance 2020-14.
Motion to table.
May I have a second?
Second.
Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Yes. Mr. Burkill,
Yes.
Ms. Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
Yes.
Ms. Scott.
Yes.
All right, so that motion has been tabled until the next meeting. Moving on to 2020-15, and that's an ordinance creating the position of the business administrator. May we have a motion? This is the introduction.
Motion to introduce 2020-15 ordinance.
Thank you. May we have a second?
Second.
Clerk, can you do roll call vote, please?
Yes. Mr. Burkill,
Yes.
Ms. Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
No.
Mr. Pasquale,
No.
Ms. Scott?
No.
Okay. So before we move on, let me make something very clear to the council folks that said no. This was a recommendation, and this is like probably the fourth time I've said it. This is a recommendation by the state monitor. He is the one that put the business administrator position ordinance together. And he has stated that we are the only municipality in New Jersey that doesn't have a business administrator, which makes a lot of sense as to why we're in the condition that we're in. We need someone to run the day-to-day operations of the borough. So I want to make that clear, just so you know what you're voting against. All right, moving on to committee reports. Buildings and grounds, Mr. Pasquale.
Yep. Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, we're working towards getting the grasses cut on 80 properties in Penns Grove that have been abandoned and the borough owns them. We are getting a few people calling the borough requesting a property be cut, and we try to go out of our way to cut those in particular if we need to, because we're going through a very long list, and we've been working at it, but it's a difficult list. And whoever does call in and gives a real reason as to like having animals or whatever, we go out of our way to, clean up the property and cut the grass. Besides going through the list, I've got one of the guys going from the back of the list forward too. So hopefully we'll get to more of the properties. And the next item is I've been at the request of the police department and the housing office to board up 5 different buildings. And we've actually we use plywood with 3-inch screws that you can't match up to unscrew them. So we've been able to keep people out of a lot of the properties, and we're working towards getting more properties done that are abandoned.
Mr. Pascal.
Third item is, I did have, I don't know if I mentioned it last month, but I had 2 signs put up at the riverfront to not drive on the actual walkway. The walkway is for people, not for vehicles. And they could probably drive up to the walkway, but not onto the walkway. So he has 2 signs. We might actually get another sign up so they're more visible.
Yep, I think we need another one. And thank you for that, Lou, for putting those up.
You're
I
welcome.
haven't seen people driving on it lately since those signs went up. So I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if we take over that property, that we'll put some fencing up along Railroad Avenue and along West Main Street, and then keep the cars out and keep them in parking lots along the street or in parking along the street. And the other one is I had 3 signs put up at the fire company for no parking, because pedestrians are parking all over the place, and they're actually blocking the emergency equipment from coming out of their buildings at times.
That's not good.
So, and when we do actually get this parking lot completed, it would become a real mess if we didn't have the signs up beforehand. But supposedly the parking lot's supposed to have been started, but I have to check with Sickles again as to what the start date is for the parking lot. But people use that area at will. So I think that's all for my report. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to housing and zoning. Ms. Scott?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening. The housing report for the month of August, we had 16 inspections, 36 pending certification, 12 COs issued. We had 9 zoning permits, We had 151 emails that were handled, 60 outbound and 97 inbound, and we had 7 summons to appear in court. And that's all I have, and the other stuff will be for closed session.
Nothing for Shade Tree?
Can I add?
Go ahead, Lou.
I've contracted Brandywine Tree to do 3 trees along West Main, cut one down right next to Borough Hall, and then trim 2 up down near the old Willis Hardware, and then trim up all the trees inside the little parks. But he's he's had some breakdowns and has kind of delayed me, but I've been pushing him to get it done. Hopefully this week. If not, I'm going to go to someone else to get the job
Okay,
done.
Lou. Okay, stay on it.
Okay.
Mr. Pasquale.
Thank you.
Mr. Pasquale,
Yes.
if you don't mind my asking, in terms of like that, the people that were involved in that regard, was that a bid or a request for a proposal in terms of how that came about?
Yeah, it was a bid. He gave me an estimate. They gave me estimates for it. I got 2 or like 3 of them. Yep.
Thank you.
And he was the lowest bidder.
No, I understand. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Scott. Thank you, Mr. Pasquale. Moving on to Parks and Recreation and Board of Health, Mr. Burkut. Mr. Burkut, are you there?
Oh, yeah, he's on now.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
You got me now? Okay. On Parks and Recreation, the Barber Park is closed because we do not have the people to go in and wipe down any side things for the kids to slide on. We do not have people to enforce the COVID violation. So until the COVID pandemic is addressed, that park will remain closed. The Memorial Park, where you can go in and sit, you can sit in at 6 feet, is open. Matter of fact, today, I think most of the people don't realize, but there's a 9/11 memorial there. And so at 8:42, when the first planes hit, we were ringing a bell, but nobody came out. But next year, 2021 will be the 20th anniversary, so we plan on having a big event there. Okay, so I just wanted to say that because I'm also a fund manager, and we're getting all the things from our insurance company saying, you know, how important it is not to get ourselves involved in anything that we can be dragged into for causing any COVID to spread. So we have to be really careful with things like block parties, use of the park, that kind of thing. Matter of fact, use of the park has a whole agreement that has to be filled out that Jeff had sent us. And I've sent it over to you all to use of facilities agreement. And I don't know anybody that would sign it because one of the things in it says that you'll be responsible for anybody that gets COVID from your party or whatever you have there. Okay, now I want to go on to Board of Health. I'd like to talk about a dog and cat license. So far this year, we've only registered about 24 animals in 2020. In 2019, we had well over 150. So that means that there's a lot of dogs in town, and 150 to 200 is actually low for this town. But there's a lot of people that don't register their dogs and get licensed for it. And I'm not super upset about it, but we should, you know, because of the COVID, but we should maybe send out a flyer or put it on our website to have your dogs registered. Okay, and now for the inspection report. As you know, we didn't have a code enforcement official going around, but we had Ed filled in, and the report for August was 10 phone messages, 13 complaints issued, 10 summons, and 13 complaints were resolved. And I know that he's working on taking people to court who don't comply with his issuing of letters. So we appreciate that.
One of those I like to quickly bring everyone up to date on is I had a complaint, and I get a lot of complaints. I get people knock on my door, send me emails, all types of stuff. But this particular complaint came by way of email, and it's for 158 State Street. And this property has a terrible, terrible roach infestation, and it's infesting the entire neighborhood. So I just want to let anybody who lives within that vicinity know that we are working on that. Ed Ramsey from Housing, he is in touch with the owner and in touch with folks in the county to get that rectified. So I just want to put that out there and let those who are concerned about that know that it's being taken care of.
And for vital statistics, I like Sharon to give that report because I don't have that.
Unfortunately, Sharon left her vital statistic report on her desk and is unable to share, but I'll be more than happy to share with you all October 6th.
The other thing I'd like to make a note of, maybe we should, on a monthly basis, report the COVID-19 results for our town. I don't think they've been going up. I know the deaths, last time I checked, were still 4, and the virus was maybe up about 10 or 15 cases.
Okay.
But maybe if you want, I'll try to add that to my side of the reporting.
That's a good idea. I just want to back to Parks and Recreations about Barbara Ave Park. Let's meet next week to discuss ideas or options to be able to at least reopen and have, someone, like you mentioned, someone needs to be, cleaning the slides and things like that. We need someone that can kind of monitor that. So let's talk about, I know the reasons why it can't open, but I'm looking for solutions to how we can open it, because I know in other municipalities, their parks are open, and whatever they're doing to remedy that, I think it's worth looking into and worth meeting with some of those folks to find out what they're doing, and we can do that here. So I want to.
I'd be glad to do that. I'm not too sure how much we can do with it. As far as putting somebody out there to clean, that's another charge for the town.
Maybe we can get volunteers or something, but we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll be glad to meet with you, and I think my committee is now Mark Oliver and Lucas Wells.
Okay, so we can meet next week.
Okay.
With the committee. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Burkut. All right. Moving on to Public Works, Streets and Roads. Mr. Oliver?
Yes, ma'am. I have several things. One is I work with Joe Danagrossi at the street department and other people there, and they're asking everybody to try to help clean the storm drains in front of their homes to keep the debris out so that the drain water can go down the drains properly. They go around with a truck once a month and shovels and try to straighten them up and clean them up, but every time it rains real hard, other debris gets in there. Secondly,
Yeah, but it's on.
Oh, it's on.
I don't know who that is.
That's
Secondly,
Mr. Baku.
Secondly, 2029-115.
Hold on, Mr. Burkut. Mr. Valenciano, can you mute your phone, please? We're getting some background noise. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Burkut. I'm sorry, Mr. Oliver.
Yeah, resolution 2029-115.
Go ahead. Mr. Oliver, you're on mute.
I wasn't on mute.
Yeah.
It keeps going on mute, like in the middle of my phone conversation.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
2029-115 and 2029-116, stormwater drain resolution and infrastructure study. I asked Lou to get involved in that because he's on my committee. He knows about the generator down there on Strong's Mill Lane, and Mark Rumor sent some people down, and that's why we have this resolution 115 to see about either replacing or repairing the generator and getting it working correctly. The other thing is that I asked to have a resolution put on through some kind of a study for stormwater system infrastructure, just as a general study to see what the priorities were to make sure that the drainage system is up to par. I know there's a couple check valves out on the river that need to be replaced, and there's a couple plug lines down by the river walk. I know that for a fact. So I think that we need to have a consulting firm come in and do a study at a minimal amount of money and recommend to the borough the priorities and the cost, the approximate cost of what needs to be done. The other thing is like I said, keeping the storm drains clean. They're trying to keep them clean. Every time it floods, trash and debris gets in there. So people can help out with that in their own neighborhoods if they can. That's all I have for my report. I did have another thing to bring up, and you said we could talk about it after the ordinances. If you want to wait until the other reports get done and then come back to me, that's fine.
Okay, let's do that. Just remind me, please.
One other thing. I'm sorry, Mayor. Excuse me. I'm sorry. We have a meeting scheduled next week to discuss with Carney's Point resolution, a revision or adoption of the street contract that we have currently with Carney's Point. And I think you're invited to that too, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. That's the local service agreement, right?
Yes.
Shared services. Okay.
Folks, I need to be involved in that at the given time, please, just if you could bear that in mind. Thank you.
6 o'clock on Monday, I believe.
Mark, is there like a meeting invite that you can forward to us?
I'll send you what the Carney's Point mayor sent me, and then I'll forward it to you.
Thank you. Forward it to myself, Mr. Linto, please.
Yes.
Appreciate that. One thing I want to bring up. So I've been contacted a lot about the residents of Penn Village. They have suffered really bad. I mean, they've been displaced and they've had to move back into their apartments. Their apartments are still not finished. They've lost a lot of their belongings, clothes, furniture. I mean, it's a complete mess. And I want you to articulate so that the town understands and those residents understand what our role is in that flooding situation. I know that Penn Village is responsible for their own stuff because they are privately owned. However, I'm just concerned. I've heard that a few of the residents are looking to take legal action. And my concern is that they're going to they may take legal action against the borough. So I want to know what is our role in the flooding of Penn Village?
Well, that's one reason I'm having the infrastructure study done, because the storm system is adequate for normal rainfalls. It's not adequate for a 100-year flood and 12 or 14 inches of rain where the water comes over the seawall. There's no system design that'll handle that. It's our posture as a council, as a town, to make sure that our infrastructure is maintained and working properly. And right now there's some deficiencies in that, in which we need a study done. But the flooding at that complex was done from water actually coming over the seawall. It was too much for the actual seawall at the river to handle, and that caused major flooding in the whole town. There's nothing that you can do to prevent that.
Okay.
I mean, that's my layman's opinion of it. We get Sickles, we're getting an engineering company to write something more technical. We can do that if you want.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to public safety.
Thank you, Mayor. I have the clerk's report for July. It's 2 alcoholic beverages renewal, $1,244.16. 1 zoning application, $10. 1 property list, $10. 2 farmers permit, $60, for a total of $1,384.16. For the month of August, we have 1 alcoholic beverage renewal for $622.08. 6 zoning applications for $50. 1 solar panel application for $100. And 1 request for records of 44 cents, for a total of $772.52. Also, Riverwalk. The fence is finally replaced. Someone took the fence out, not for to junk it. They just took downtown and threw it. But the fence has been put back in. Next week, we will have a dumpster out there by the left side of the Riverwalk to clean up that furniture. And I just want everybody that's listening, if you see something, say something. Somebody is just dumping because they can. And I know somebody probably done seen something by now, but it looks a mess. But we will have somebody out there cleaning it up. The parking lot for the fire department, I talked to Adam and he had asked about it. So I contacted Triad and long story short, they haven't went out for bids yet. They had some issues and they had to put something back in. And so now it's on track to go out for bids. And I asked her, were we about to lose the grant? And she said, no, it was an extension on it. So we won't be losing it. And if I'm right, it's either this month or next month, we should be getting our fire truck. So we need that parking lot done. Ditches. I talked to Autumn from Mosquito Commission. And she told me the Broad Street ditch was cleaned out in December and the one on Mill Street was cleaned out not too long ago. I don't really know if it's their job or not or what, but they had cleaned, they had went on and cleaned them out. Also, the other month we had a safety meeting and they, in the safety meeting, they gave us some money so we could help get some of these properties cleaned up. So those are the guys that you see around here cleaning up, helping to clean up some of these properties. We've been hitting the ones that haven't been hit yet. So some of them are real tall and they haven't been done. They did the river wall and hopefully we have enough money to keep them going till October. So that can help get some of this stuff cleaned up. And I think that's all I have.
Can I say something?
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mike Racute, I'm also on Carol's committee.
Uh-huh.
When I saw the furniture around here, I tried to call Santa Grossi and tell him that, you know, and maybe you can add this to your, when you start to negotiate, is that whenever there's any furniture that's obviously been thrown out by somebody, they should pick it up anyhow and get rid of it and just keep track of it, and we'll pay the fees for, you know, in other words, if it doesn't have a sticker on it, pick it up anyhow and just give us a list of the items they pick up.
It's a good idea.
And I offered to pay for it myself and he never called me back. It was like 2 days ago.
Well, he told me I could pay for it.
And he told
Yeah,
Carol.
he told me, I asked him if I
Just
paid
getting
for
it
it, would they
done.
pick it up? And they said, yeah. So he's willing to take our money, my money.
Okay, good. Because it can't just sit there, you know?
Now, well, what I did, I called to the jail to see if they were going to start letting the guys back out again, but I didn't get a call back. So I was trying to wait for them, but I said, okay, he's not calling me back. So we have enough money in the left that they gave us to get a dumpster out there. So if anybody's willing to come out there to help us clean it up, but it needs to go. Also, I missed the call today with the judge to talk to him about community service workers, because I know we're under COVID, but everybody's walking the street. So we need to get them back out there also. I'm done.
Carol, question for you. You only having one dumpster?
When I looked at it today, we don't need two over there. Well, the branches and things is a lot, but we don't have a lot of money to get two of them. Now let's the company want to donate one.
Okay, because I'm seeing a lot of mattresses all
Oh, no,
around
we
too.
just-
So
Oh no, we're not going around town. We're just doing this at the river.
I know you're not. Yeah, but I'm
Yeah, they
just
didn't
saying
give
we
us-
need to do something.
They didn't give us a lot of money to do
Okay.
this. We're just doing this at the river. Them people around town gonna start getting written up. That's what's gonna
Yeah,
happen.
well, they laying around.
Yeah, but we still should have Kearney's Point picking them up, period.
Yeah,
Not
but
just-
I don't think we should be. I don't think we should be paying for this stuff, because the people
Yeah.
going to continue to do it. You know what
I
I
don't
mean, and get
either.
over. So no,
Well-
we shouldn't be paying.
Well,
Yeah.
That's why they should go get a sticker.
the
Yep.
problem is that we don't know who's doing the dumping. So who do you bill?
Right.
And in the
Right.
midst of us waiting to find out who do we bill, the stuff is just sitting there and it cannot sit there. So maybe what we can do is still have Kearney's Point pick it up. We pay the bill. When we find out who it is, then we send them the bill and we make them pay for it.
No.
Mayor, we can talk about that on Monday with the Kearney's Point mayor and maybe put something in place temporary to take care of that, and then
Okay,
work it into the contract for next year if we have one.
okay. Thank you.
Mark,
All right.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say to Mark that I might have a list of items from buildings and grounds to add to that contract.
Yeah, send it to me. Send it to me.
Not now.
Because we're going to probably get into rewriting that contract or trying to figure out something. So we need all the information we can get.
Okay.
And Mark, put the sweeper in.
They got a one
I'll make a note.
What that was
Thank you.
called, Where's Waldo?
I'm assuming this would fall under public safety, but I have gotten numerous complaints about certain businesses who are not mandating that their customers wear masks. There are people coming in stores and not wearing masks. They're shopping, and I've gotten quite a few reports. So I don't know if we need to create an ordinance for that. We need to enforce that. So we need to figure out how to enforce that, because that needs to be done ASAP. So just want to note that.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, who's going to enforce it?
Mr. Linto, can we put together a temporary ordinance effective immediately that all store managers or owners have to enforce that rule?
Yes, we can draft one and have it to you tomorrow.
Thought it was a state rule.
It actually is.
It probably is.
Yeah, it is. But we're not enforcing. Like we're depending on adults to be responsible as adults and as business owners, and they're not doing it. So because they're not doing it, then I think that we need to enforce it as a town. So
Okay, but who's going to enforce it?
that's what we need to figure out. I don't know if it would be the police that would enforce it, or I don't know.
It's got to be the establishment, whoever's in charge of the establishment at the time has to enforce it, or that person or that individual gets a fine.
But I think Carol's question is who's going to go out to businesses to enforce it, to make sure that they're doing it. You know what I mean?
Have the police randomly go into each business once in a while. That's all. Walk around.
And you know what I'm going to ask? I'm going to ask to all the residents who are on this call right now, if you go into a store and you see people without masks on, please take a picture and send it to us, because then we'll have proof. We can say, hey, here you go. So.
Mayor, Council.
Yes.
This is Lieutenant Spare. If I could have a suggestion that maybe during a police committee meeting, I could make a couple suggestions. That way we fit in legal boundaries here. And then you could make a decision from there.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yes.
My name is Cesar Valenciano. I'm actually in town. I know
No, it's public session. This is not a public session.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
We're gonna save your comment until we go to public session, okay, Mr. Valenciano?
Thank
And, all right. Moving on to, thank you everyone for your committee reports. Moving on to departmental reports, we have the finance officer report. Mr. Ladd?
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. I just have one item for tonight. We went through the emergency resolution. That was great. That was adopted so we can take down the houses for public safety and welfare. I've been keeping track of our tax collection rate. That's one of our major revenues. Our collection rate as of date is 80.45%. We're actually up 1.65% from the prior year, so we're doing good. That's all I have for Mayor and Council tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the Chief of Police report.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. First, I just want to confirm with Ms. Mincy that in fact the South Broad Street portion of the dike was dredged out. I had that done in December for a police issue that I had to take care of. But as far as the month of August, the police department responded to 863 calls for service. They issued 18 motor vehicle summons, 7 borough ordinances, 19 arrests, and approximately 262 business checks on top of the 863 calls for service. During the month, we had a staffing level of approximately 80%. During that time, 1 officer was on administrative leave, 1 officer was on workers' comp issue, and 1 officer resigned to work with another jurisdiction. Because of that staffing level, I had to cover 14 shifts with overtime for a total of 168 man hours. That is what I have for the month of August. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Spiro. Okay, moving on to the fire chief report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can. How you doing?
All right, how's everyone? Just,
Great.
I have a few things to discuss tonight. One of them, let's keep in our memories 9/11. We're 19 years in. Like Mr. Pacouch said, we're going on 20 years coming up in 2021. Couple things. One thing is the truck. The truck is scheduled to be done in Florida on the 23rd of this month, which in return, after it leaves Florida, it will end up in PA, and from there, it's probably going to be about another 2 to 3 weeks getting fitted for all the cabinetry and all that stuff. Pending everything else goes all right. They got struck with COVID. They had 14 people in Florida test positive for COVID, so they were shut down for a little while. The other item I want to discuss, I've been in talks with Councilman Mincy about an issue I have with air pack bottles. If you don't know what air pack bottles are, they are the things that firemen wear on their back that supplies them with air when they go on fire, whether it be hazardous condition, car fires, whatever. I have a issue that I have 40 bottles that are out of hydro. Hydro means that they can no longer be in service anymore. I'm in desperate need of 20 of them, so I reached out to Carolyn Zapina from Tryon Associates also to see if there was any kind of grants out there. And there is a USDA grant out there that would take up a lot of the cost of these air pack bottles. I think there is a portion that we have to pay also. And I know she's on here, and I know I talked to Carol about this. Maybe we can ask her if she does come on tonight and you do talk to her about it. She can give you a little more information on it. And as far as the parking lot, I did see the email that came back to Sharon, I think it was, from Tammy, that the parking lot is moving. They were waiting for a letter from Mr. Lento or something, and it went up. And as far as I know, it's sitting up at the state office now, and they're just waiting for, I guess, this last step of approval to, after they get it from them, so it can go back out for bidding again. And yes, we are in crunch time. I know Carol Mincy's been behind the firehouse. She knows what it looks like. I don't know if any other council people have been behind there. It is bad. And Lou is right. The truck's got to go out that way. And that brand new truck's going to be going out that way. That truck's worth $1 million. And it's not a how do I want to say it? It's not a want, it's a need. It has to be done. So hopefully, I'm hoping it just goes on and we don't have to go into another situation where we put in for an extension and then it'll be next year sometime. Obviously, everybody knows blacktop, they normally go out around November, December, they stop making it. So we're going to have an issue if we don't get this done soon. And that's all I have, Mayor and Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to ambulance EMS captain report.
Good evening, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello. For the month of August, we had 71 alarms. We've had a total of 630 for the year, which I do believe is up from last year. It feels like it anyway. So far, we're still okay with our PPE as far as COVID goes. If we do get a spike, we'll see about what we need at that point. I am concerned about the parking lot because I really haven't been involved in that process. I've said things, but I don't know if anybody's ever really answered my question. And that is the front of the ambulance building.
Debbie, did we lose you? You there, Debbie?
Showing she's on, but who knows?
If it was going to include the ambulance building.
Oh, there she is. Debbie, you kind of broke up a little bit. Yeah, you're still breaking up really bad.
I'll talk to you guys later about it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, moving on to mayoral comment. My first comment, I just want to take a moment of silence in remembrance of the victims of 9/11. A lot of us know folks who were killed in 9/11, so I just want to take a moment of silence for 10 seconds. Okay, thank you. And then I also want to add in, we received a communication from the Mosquito Commission. It's the Salem County Mosquito Control, and they're going to do morning spray notification. That was for this morning. And the rain date is tomorrow, 4 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So I think it was raining this morning, so I'm not quite sure if they were able to do it or not, but they have a rain date for tomorrow morning from 4 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. So I just want to let everyone know that they'll be providing adulticide treatments by way of truck for adult mosquito control and on a lot of the streets in Penns Grove. So I just want to let you know that. And that's all that I have. Moving on to attorney report.
Folks, bear with me 1 second, please.
Sure.
Folks, hello, thank you. Regarding the transfer of 41 South Virginia Avenue, Block A4, Lot 24, the niece of my office was in contact with the clerk's office, who indicated that the deed was recorded on August 31st, and it was returned to the borough. Matters concluded from a legal aspect. Transfer 64 East Main Street, Block 67, lots 20.20.02, 22, 23, 24, and 26. The resolution to accept the properties was on the agenda. I've been in contact with the bank's attorney regarding 3537 Westminster Avenue. We got the ejectment order, just waiting for the governor's moratorium on ejectments to be vacated so that we could follow up in this regard. And regarding the Valenciano Corporation, as previously explained, the transaction is voided as the contract and buyer was revoked at the time of the sale and the execution of the contract. We passed a resolution in that regard. spoke to Mr. Valenciano previously regarding the matter. Some additional information was explained, but as it stands, ultimately the sale was void per law. We could discuss this matter further as needed, as I anticipate may be the case later during this during the meeting tonight, or at least address it accordingly. And regarding the railroad crossing, per request, we put the railroad on notice that the crossing is unsafe. This is the railroad crossing at Pittman Avenue and Beach Street. The crossing is unsafe and needs to be examined and repaired where necessary. We've been in communication with the Conrail, who indicated that they would address the issue. Councilman Pasquale specifically had asked us to do so. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Mr. Lento.
Thank you, Mr. Lento, for that.
Okay, moving on to new business.
Mayor, I have
Sure.
I have a question that I was going to bring up after my report. It's about a resolution. I had previously asked, and I think there were several council members that confirmed my request to put the borough solicitor position on as a resolution to hire the Joe DiNicola or whoever the lowest bidder was. We never did that for the year.
I'm so glad you brought that up. We are in the middle of September. What sense would it make to bring on a new solicitor now? We only have a couple months, because he's not going to be the solicitor for January unless the council puts votes, for him to be the solicitor. But we have 3 months left. Can you imagine how much money that's going to cost? Mr. Lento is going to have to bring him up to speed on things. It just doesn't make sense. So what we're going to do is we're going to go out for RFP in November, and Mr. DiNicola can submit his proposal for the following year. But it makes no sense to bring in a new solicitor. Mr. Lento has been appointed. He's doing a great job. And I don't see what the reason is that you would want to remove him. You guys all voted for him to be the solicitor until we get a new one. But here we are, we're in the middle of September. So explain to me what sense that would make.
I don't have anything against Mr. Lento. We did not vote him in as a solicitor. He was voted as a conflict solicitor. We did not vote him in as the borough solicitor. So I correct you on that.
He was voted in as a temporary solicitor until we brought in another one, but we could not come to an agreement. So my question is, here we are going into the middle of September. What's your reason for wanting to bring in a new solicitor? He's only going to be the solicitor for 1 month, 1 or 2 months. Like, what sense does that make?
Well,
then Mr. Lento's going to be billing to transition things over to him and bring him up to speed. That doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's a waste of money.
It makes a lot of sense if he's going to continue to be the solicitor next year.
Well, we don't know that though.
No, we don't.
So we can't, so it doesn't make sense to bring him on with the anticipation and thought that he perhaps may become the solicitor next year. That doesn't make sense to me. So that's why we didn't go out for.
I just thought it should be a resolution and should be voted on by the council.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Whether it makes sense or not,
3 months in.
It should be a resolution that should be voted on.
I would like to second that.
There's no motion for that, and it's not on the agenda. We can discuss it after or next week in closed session. But I just want to say that I think that's a waste of money, and I don't think that that even makes sense to me. We got a couple months left of the year. It doesn't make sense. Waste of time and money. All right. Was that the end of your question, or did you have something else before we move on?
No, I have another question, but I think I need to wait until. Well, I guess I need to wait until the open session to bring this up. It's about Carl. Can we talk about Carl?
Nope, he's not on the agenda.
That doesn't matter. I said, can we talk about it?
Yeah, I said no. We can talk about, that's a legal issue. We can talk about it in closed session next week. That's why we're going to have closed session to address all of your questions about Carl, the chief, whatever else, tort claims that we currently received. Those things need to be discussed in closed session.
That's fine.
All right. Moving on to new business. I'm sorry, Mr. Oliver, was that it before I move on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to new business. So Greg Martin's use of facilities request for Barber Avenue Park. He wants to do a movie night. He's got a giant movie screen. And as he explained to me, it would be, everyone would be doing social distancing because they'll be in their cars. I called Governor Murphy and I spoke with him about it, and he said that it's an excellent idea. He said he doesn't see a problem with it because you currently outside events, you can have 500 people as long as they're practicing, wearing masks and things like that. Of course, we won't have 500 people there. Folks will be in their cars. He anticipates it must, I think it's about 50 people he mentioned that had signed up for it. So I just wanted to give a little background on the reason for his request to use Barbara Ave Park, and it's for movie night for the kids in the community. So can we have a motion to approve that?
Mike, you want to speak to the use of the park, Mike?
He's coming.
Well, my feeling again is that until we have a vaccine or the COVID epidemic is gone, the town shouldn't be involved. And there is an agreement that he can sign to use our facilities where he basically, and I sent it up to the council for use of facilities where you just agree that you'll be responsible for any COVID cases.
Sharon.
Okay.
Sharon, didn't Mr. Martin fill out the facilities request, or Charlene Martin?
This is what I'm talking
You there, Sharon?
about. I got from the fund manager.
Taylor, do you know? I believe they filled out the facilities request.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor, Mrs. Mayor.
No problem.
Yes, Ms. Martin did complete the application, and it was distributed with the packet for this last scheduled meeting.
Okay, and there was also a tool that has to begin being utilized, right? When folks want to request.
Right, they would need to apply for the insurance as recommended and suggested by our risk management consultant, Eileen Larson.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've done that yet. They've not submitted any proof of insurance for the one-day event.
Okay.
As long as Greg has his paperwork in and it's good, I think it's a good idea.
I think so too. I think this town needs something. We have all been through pure hell all year, and these kids haven't been able to do anything all summer. And if we could sit in a car and watch a movie, I think that's phenomenal. I think it's a great idea.
There is no parking lots that would be available to them anywhere to park on the grass. Is that what the best idea is? If so, that's okay with me.
Yeah, I don't think it should be an issue to use Barbara Ave Park because we've used it for everything. Car shows, Puerto Rican parade. There was 100 cars last year at the park. So he's only requesting to have 50 cars, and people will sit in their cars and they will watch a movie. So I think it's a great idea. As long as they have all like Mark said, as long as they have all their paperwork and insurance and stuff, there shouldn't be an issue with that.
And and just so that a lot of kids don't start running around outside of the cars and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and from my understanding, they're going to have some volunteers out there to kind of regulate, just to make sure that people are good, people are in their own spaces. So
did they sign the agreement paper, you said?
They signed the facilities, application, but Sharon is saying, Sharon, could you explain what that tool is so that everybody's aware of what we're talking about?
The TULA program is a program that it's a portal you can log into and purchase insurance for one-day events. And the fee varies depending on what your event is and the number of people. They've been provided the information, and again, they don't have to use that. They could go to their own agent and purchase it. The recommendation is that they get a policy for at least $1 million based off of the number of people they indicate may be attending.
So let me ask you this, if they didn't get their insurance, it's probably because they didn't want to spend the money and then get denied by council. So I'm thinking if council approves this, then they would definitely, with the anticipation that they'll, get the insurance and everything, I believe that they'll get it then, but I believe council needs to approve it first.
I think they should get the insurance first, because normally we don't turn people down, but they should have everything in place. And that
Okay.
agreement paper that Mike was saying, they should sign that,
They have
Okay.
because we don't want nothing to come back on the borough. The agreement paper you said they did sign,
Yeah, they signed
that
it.
one Mike was talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, they're responsible? Okay.
And then you guys could approve it contingent on them providing proof of insurance. That way, we already have an answer in place.
Okay.
Sharon should be now.
So can we have a motion to approve contingent upon they have the insurance in place?
Motion.
Maybe we have a
Second.
second?
Second.
Clerk, can you do roll call?
Mr. Bakir,
Yes.
Ms. Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
No, at this time.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Motion approved contingent upon proof of insurance. All right, moving on to Victoria Hill. She submitted a roadblock request for Walnut Street from Tyrone to Westminster. May we have a motion to approve that?
Approval.
The roadblock
Oh.
for her party.
That's for a party, right?
It's a birthday party for a child.
Party.
She indicated in her correspondence and in speaking with or communicating with Lieutenant Spira, he didn't have a problem with it. He did suggest moving forward that individuals be required to get signatures from their neighbors so that there won't be any issues down the road.
Okay.
And I'm
That's
sure
a good
there's
idea.
only a few houses. I'm sure that she would even be willing to do so in the interim.
Oh.
Yeah.
So can we have a motion to approve? Does anyone want to make the motion to approve? Madam Clerk,
Yes.
because this is a birthday party for a child, and again, the kids have been through enough this year, could you work with her? I don't know how soon she's requesting it, but could you work with her to make sure that she has things in place that will make members on council comfortable, whatever their concerns are? And then we can do approval through email, right? Can we do that?
I propose to conduct business that way, not making a decision. You guys really should not do that. That's could potentially violate the Open Public Meeting Act.
Okay, so
Madam Mayor.
What are they looking for? What are your concerns?
Madam Mayor, this is Mike Bercuda. I like to give my concerns. One, it's you're calling it a birthday party, but I call it a block party if you start blocking off roads. And will it just be members of the family, or will it be people coming from all over? Or how will you control when the people come? Will you keep track of who comes, and then will they be wearing masks? Or, I mean, I just don't feel that this party can be regulated. That's my concern. With the COVID virus. I only had 2 or 3 birthday parties in my whole life. And most of them were like 6, and maybe I only had 6 friends, but it was like 6 people around the table. So I just can't picture a birthday party for a child. I don't even know if it's a child, maybe it's a teenager.
What are the hours?
From 4 to 8:30. p.m., 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
That's not a little child's party. That's probably a little older for the hours.
And it's dark out, yeah. I don't know, that was my concern. That's why I didn't vote the,
Okay, so I'm taking that as a no then.
yes, a no from me. But what do I know?
All right. Clerk, do we need to do anything with that? Do they have to vote no? Each person have to vote no on that since we didn't get a motion?
No, it actually dies for lack of a motion.
Can I say something, Mayor?
Yes.
Can we get some more information from her? Because we don't want to turn people down from having something.
I agree.
You know, let's get a little more information from who's having the mother and
Tell me
let her
whatever-
explain a little more, because we don't really want to say no, but we just want to be safe, you know, the precautions and stuff. So try to get a little more information. When is the block party? Is it coming up soon?
Yeah, she had requested that it be on the 17th, I believe, next Saturday.
That's this weekend coming. If we could
Yes,
get
absolutely.
some information probably on Monday or Tuesday, because
What
we don't really
additional
want to tell it.
information are you guys looking for? I don't know what you're looking for to even go to this lady and ask her. I mean, she provided me the time. I believe the child
I'd like to know the age of the girl that's having the birthday party. I'd like to know who's gonna attend, and if she's going to enforce COVID regulations.
Okay.
So the number of people enforcing COVID-19 regulations and the age of the child.
I mean, we've all seen pictures on TV when kids get together. It's pretty much forget about COVID.
Okay, I will contact her. Again, my concern is, how do you guys make a decision outside of a meeting?
Right.
You can't.
We have a special meeting coming up, right?
Why doesn't she just forget about blocking off the roads and have it in her house or next door or in her yard? Why does she need the road blocked off?
She indicated that because of the
Might
traffic.
not have a yard.
What did you say, Sharon?
She indicated that her concern for safety comes from the people, the motor vehicle traffic that comes through Walnut Street.
Can you guys do a motion based up on contingent?
I mean, let's do something, because I don't want to tell the girl no.
Folks,
Honestly, it's my opinion. It's a birthday party. You guys really don't have any business about whether or not
Right.
who her attendees are. Her request was, can she block off a block of Walnut Street? I'm not trying to be facetious in my statement, but
I say no. Block off.
No, you saying it right. I mean, because we don't have to. I mean, that's not our business to ask, you know, who's coming. I wouldn't want everybody to know who's coming.
Right.
If I didn't invite you, I don't want everybody to know who's coming.
Why do we have to block off?
He wanted to know how many.
not the entire
Yeah.
street from Tyrone to Westminster, just a portion of it.
Folks, may I make a suggestion?
Yes.
If Lieutenant Spear is so inclined, after doing like some preliminary investigation, have Lieutenant Spear make the decision and then the council can vote on it as needed? Or council can vote to allow him to make the decision now as he deems appropriate?
I'm willing to do whatever the council wishes. So on this matter here.
Oh, let you make the final decision.
Should let Metro make it, right?
All right, what are we gonna do, you guys, so we don't have to sit here for the rest of the night?
Yeah, not for this one.
So do we have a motion?
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that let this woman have her party. I'm gonna make a motion. So everybody else says no, yes, but I'm making a motion, and Lieutenant's going to check out things, so, you know, let them have the party.
Thank you, Ms. Scott. Can we have a second?
Hold on, is he getting signatures from the neighbors?
That would be her requirement. And I
Okay,
can advise her of that, that would be something she would need to do.
I'll make sure it's the neighbors' signatures. Okay, then I'll second it.
Okay. We have a second. Clerk, can you do roll call, please?
Mr. Burkett,
Aye.
Ms. Mincy,
What did he say?
He said
What
aye.
What was Mr. Bocoot's vote?
He said
Aye.
aye.
Mincy,
Yes.
Mr. Oliver,
Yes.
Mr. Pasquale,
Yes.
Ms. Scott.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
Can
you.
we make it known that block parties is not something that we want to have going on all the time? And if they want to do a block party, we only have a meeting once a month. They need to get their stuff together and tell us way ahead of time.
And,
So we have all
and
this in place.
I think
Well,
that we need to have some things in place when it comes to block parties, like Lieutenant Spiro had mentioned, getting the signatures of your neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in terms of, you know, maybe we need to look up what the rule is right now on block parties and see, you know, how many people you can have. I mean, my understanding is outside events, you can have 500 people, which is ridiculous amount of people, but, you know, so we just need to put some things in place. And I think you know, the main thing is just getting signatures from your neighbors going forward.
Right. Well, that's the courtesy call always.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to public.
I have a question.
Yes.
So is it permissible to make motions in the new business section?
Mr. Lento, could you answer that question?
Folks, it's a special meeting. It has to be on the agenda.
Doesn't matter where it is in the agenda, right? Is that what you're saying, Mr. Lento? As long as it's on the agenda?
Correct, but this is a special meeting.
The special meeting.
What do you mean this is a special meeting? You don't handle motions in special meetings?
No, you can only.
What's that?
During regular council meetings is when that would be appropriate.
How is this different than a regular council meeting?
Special meetings, you can only talk about what's on the agenda.
And this meeting was called on an emergency basis.
And the reason why it's in this special meeting is because of the tight timelines. Like Victoria Hill wants to have it by next Saturday. We don't have another council meeting. We would have talked about, it would have gone the correct way when we had our meeting September 1st, but as you guys all know, we couldn't have it because you guys weren't there. So we had to have a special meeting today. So that's why it's on the agenda today.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about making a motion for something that's not on the agenda. You're saying that that's permissible on regular meetings, but not on special meetings.
On special meetings, you can only talk about what's on the agenda, if I'm right.
Where is that written?
I don't know, Mr. Lento. That's why it's called a special meeting.
Mr. Lento, can you work with Mark Oliver sometime after the, please? Okay, and then Mr. Oliver, you can address all your questions to Mr. Lento and get a full understanding of what happens in the agenda and special meetings and all that stuff. I don't want to spend more time tonight. We've been here too long. We're already 38 minutes overdue.
I understand that, but some of these items have been getting delayed. And it's going on for months now for things that should have been taken care of months ago.
I agree. But again, Mr. Lento will address that with you, all your questions, to get a full understanding of how things go in special meetings versus public meetings. I mean, regular council meetings.
I'd like to go on the record as that I'm making a motion to put Mr. Riley, Carl, and the other girl that was fired.
Didn't I I just say
back
to
in
you, you
office.
couldn't do that, Mark? Well, how hard is it for you to comprehend that? That's a
Because I
personnel
don't,
issue.
because I don't think that a council person that was voted to be back on council should still be off.
We'll
That's
discuss
why.
it. We'll discuss it in closed session next week,
When
again,
is the
for the
closed
5th
session
time.
meeting? When's the closed session meeting?
I haven't scheduled it yet. We can talk about that, but we're not going to hold up the public's time right now. We're not doing that right now. We are the only municipality who has meetings that run like this. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
You're right.
Like you guys don't understand. You've been in government longer than I have, and I have a full understanding that you
Well-
can't talk about certain things in public.
So
You have
they
to have a closed
corrupt you.
session.
Folks, this can't be discussed in this
Thank
forum.
you.
And I would suggest that it's not directed to anybody in particular, but anybody who does not respect that simple request be removed from the meeting. I'm going to ask the mayor to remove them from the meeting.
Thank you. Now, moving on to public portion. May I have a motion to open to the public portion of the meeting, please? Is there a motion?
Motion to open public portion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anyone from the public that wishes to speak, I ask that you raise your hand. If you're not able to use the hand raise feature, I ask that you unmute yourself and state your name, your address, and you get 3 minutes. If you go over 3 minutes, I will have to mute you. If you unmute yourself, I will remove you because we can't be here all night. All right.
Mayor Greg Martin, I couldn't raise my hand. I don't see a thing to raise your hand, but in the comment section, I asked, could I speak?
Sure, go ahead, Mr. Martin.
First of all, I want to thank Mayor and Council.
State your address. I'm sorry, Mr. Martin.
I'm sorry, Gregory Martin, 46 Spruce Street, Pennsgrove. I want to thank Council and Mayor for the approval of the drive-in movie night that me and my wife have been planning for some time now through a little company that we run. But I just wanted to address a couple of concerns that the council had. I think Mr. Bakut had a concern maybe of kids running around. Was that correct, Mr. Bakut?
Yes, it was, sir.
Okay, well, the kids won't be walking to the event. They're driving in with their families. So I don't think that will be an issue as far as kids running around because they're coming in a vehicle with their parents or guardian, whoever signed them up to attend.
And are they going to stay in the vehicle or go out?
We would allow them to, if they want to bring a chair, they could sit in front of the vehicle, but they're going to have to be either in their vehicle or in front of their vehicle.
Okay, thank you.
Any other concerns, Mr. Bakut?
No, that was my main one, especially at night when it gets dark, that there might be kids running around when their cars are leaving or whatever.
Well, we definitely don't plan on having a circus. As far as Mrs. Scott, the reason why the insurance wasn't purchased, we wasn't going to work backwards. No one's going to purchase insurance without having approval, as the mayor stated. Was that your only concern?
Guess not.
Maybe. Well, if that was our concern, the reason why we didn't purchase the insurance is because we didn't want to work backwards, paying for insurance and never got approval. That just didn't make sense financially, being though me and my wife is basically financing the event ourselves. Mr. Pascal, did you have any concerns? Because I noticed you were the only one that voted no. So maybe it's something I can address with you of the concern you may have had. Is Mr. Pascal still in, Madam Mayor?
Let's see. He may be speaking
Sorry,
on
I was
mute.
muted.
Oh, okay.
My major concern is just that the virus is very active and I don't want people to get sick, that's all.
So you just against any events happening right now? Am I
Excuse
correct?
me?
So it seems you don't have a problem with this event. You just don't want any events right now.
Right. Just concerned for the safety of our residents, that's all.
Well, I mean, the governor has, by following the CDC guidelines, a lot of restaurants is open. The Palos is currently packed, so I just don't
It shouldn't
understand.
be. I know.
Yeah. Well, that's the governor has issued that, so I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but okay. I just wanted to address any concerns anyone had. Me and my wife, we also have concerns, but we looked at everything, and we looked at other towns that's currently having them. I actually put on events at different places, so we definitely going to follow CDC guidelines. We're definitely going to make sure people are separated, and we definitely don't want to be responsible for anyone getting sick, which I know what Mr. Mike was saying about the paperwork, but it's really a little bit hard to prove for somebody to prove where they got sick at, regardless where you're out and about. If you catch the coronavirus, I don't think most people can just pinpoint where they caught it at. Thank you for your time, Madam Mayor. That's all I need. That's all I want. If no one else has any questions or concerns.
Thank you,
Mr. Martin.
Yes.
Mr. Martin, did you ask me a question?
Yes, I
did. You ask me something? I
Yes,
thought you were saying something. Yes. No, we just want to make sure everything is in order because, you normally ask for stuff. We don't turn anybody down, but we just want to make sure everything is in place.
No,
That's all.
I understand that, and I appreciate it. That's what you're on council for, to dot your I's and cross your T's. What I was addressing, which I wasn't really asking a question, I was just letting you know why the insurance wasn't purchased. We wasn't going to purchase insurance before we got approval. Now that we got approval, we certainly will purchase the insurance. We already looked into all that anyway, and we know that $1 million is required and all that kind of stuff. It's really not that expensive for a one-day policy because we have purchased policies before. So just wanted to address your concern, not really a question, just to let you know that we will be purchasing the insurance. All right, thank you. That's all.
You're welcome, dear. You're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Okay, Wave.
How you doing? Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is Wade Thomas, 40 Delaware. I had a couple questions that I have been sitting here listening. I would like to know, is there a list of these 80 properties? This is to Lou Pasquale. Is there a list of these 80 properties that you're cutting or vacancies that you have?
Repeat that. I didn't quite hear you.
Right? And trimmed, the grass is being cut by the company. Is there a list of the 80 vacancies?
Oh, there is a list of 80 abandoned properties in Pensgrove. Yeah, I got it from the tax office. Actually, there's a new list has come out, and I requested that because I'm sure that they're the properties that are the longest, and we haven't even addressed them yet.
Well, then why did he plan the first one?
Okay, and are these the same properties that the residents of Kingsgrove?
Yeah, but then how did Greg get in? How did Greg? He said I couldn't raise my hand.
Hello?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I just had to mute out the background noise so we can hear you.
Is this list of 80 properties the list that the community or residents have been asking for so they can possibly purchase and maybe take on that, and clean it themselves?
Some of the 80 properties are going up for sale, and we actually, I think we agreed to put like 20 or 30 up for sale.
So there's no list where somebody can possibly buy one of the properties and maybe you don't have to cut it?
I think the list is going through
I've been
council right
here
now.
for 2.5 years.
Which ones we are selling?
I've been here for 2.5 years, and everybody keeps asking about a list. I'm trying to see a list too. Is there a list?
I don't have the list myself as to the ones that are going up for sale. I'm not involved in that part at all.
Okay, thank you. I got a couple questions. I've been writing them down as we go. You guys got
That's a good question, though.
You got 3 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, you got 2 minutes
Done
left.
through the clerk's
office. What company cuts the grass?
It's not a company. There are 3 part-time borough employees to cut it. And then Carol has a grant for, and she's having other individuals cut other properties.
So there's 3 people, not 2, because you said you had 2 people that were cutting 80 properties, one from the front and one from the back of the list.
Well, there's 2 guys work together. One does all the weed whacking, and he does, the other guy does the machine work. And then there's a second guy, a third guy that actually works by himself. And what I said was, I had the third guy start at the back of the list because the list is so long and work forward, where the 2 guys are working to the back, towards the back of the list. I don't know if I explained that right.
Come on, Wave, your time's almost up.
Wave, is that it? Did he get? I don't see him anymore. All right.
I think Wade would have to
Oh,
go
there
to
he
the
is.
clerk's office for those properties that are being sold, though.
I can't hear what he said. Sorry. Are they paid by the hour or the lot is what I was asking. I didn't hear you.
They're paid by the hour. The 3 part-time guys are paid by the hour.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And this one this is to Mark. Mark spoke on the study. So I would like to know who pays for that study.
The township.
The township pays for the study.
Yeah.
We
Unless
don't
we
have
get-
money for a business administrator, but we have money for a study.
It would be part of the overall cost for the borough each year. Sometimes there are grants, and the company that we're reaching out to is also looking into a grant to be able to fund at least part of that study.
Turn right into Dane Street.
Go to the okay. And where did the water come over the seawall? Because I live here on Delaware too, and I did lose things, and I got it flooded. But I would like to know, did you guys lose anything along the river, like
There was multiple residences along the river on the west side of State Street from probably somewhere around Naylor and down by where Naylor runs into, I guess that's Beach Street, all the way down to Maple Avenue that it came over the seawall.
So on Lou Pasquale side of the waterfront.
Well, some of the problem is that some people's seawall is not in good shape, and it's not even as high as it should be. So the water comes over it.
But okay, you guys saying the water came over. I'm a resident, and you guys told us that the pumps and everything were working. You guys checked them out, right? So why would we do a study to redo new pumps that were already put in and working?
Lou, you want to address the generator issue?
Oh, yeah. From what I gathered about Delaware Avenue is that the power went out, the pumps did not come on, and they haven't come on in a year at Delaware Avenue. From the resident that lives right next to him, told me this. It's a shame that he didn't call Carney's Point or myself and notify him that the pumps or the generator hadn't come on. But once the power came back at Delaware Avenue, from what I understand, then the pumps pumped down the street.
Then okay, then when I'm in front of Wilson Hardware, right there where that lady has it's like a little field or parking lot to the side. How is that still flooded for 4 days later and a week later if the pumps are on?
Where's this at now? I'm not following you.
Go down my street, turn left up Main. Where as soon as you get to Main, there's a lady with kids. She has a mud.
Oh, I can tell you what happened there. You're talking about West Main Street at the railroad tracks, right?
Yes. How is that still
Okay.
flooded 4 and 5 days
What's
later if
happened
the pump
there
still
is
working?
that there's a pipe that runs under the river walk property to the river. When the wall was put up at the river walk, they blocked the pipe.
Okay, who blocked the pipe? What
The
company
construction
blocked the
company
pipe?
blocked the pipe and it hasn't been ever rectified yet. And the other part is,
I understand that. Asking.
and some of the pipe underground has collapsed too through the Riverwalk area from West Main Street over to the Riverwalk.
And
But it slowly drains to
who was over
Mill
that?
Street.
Who was over that project that blocked off a sewer or pipe drain to the river?
Hold on. Wave, you can talk with Mr. Pasquale after. We got to move on because we got other people that got to speak too.
I'll talk to you about it, Wade, but that has persisted, that problem, and it hasn't been rectified.
Okay. I just had one more question, and it was
Nope.
don't
Your time is up. Your time is up. You've been way over 3 minutes. We got other people.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah. Have a nice day, and thank you, guys.
I'll talk to you more, Wave.
All right.
All right.
Fair though. You're right. It's sickening looking at flooded.
Thank you, Wave. Okay, Trish L. She's had her hand raised.
Hello, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Patricia Lockett. I am a resident of Penn Village Apartments, apartment unit 500. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you, Mayor, for raising awareness. Excuse me, I'm sorry. It's a disturbance outside and my son is out there in Penn Village. I'm sorry. Come on, Jonah.
Trish, once your background is quiet, I'll come back to you, okay? Just raise your hand again. Irene Scarpese.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to talk about Penn Village too. I watched the video and I have a lot of sympathy for the people that are living in Penn Village and Penns Grove Gardens. My question is that a CO is required for residents to move into a rental property. And I read the ordinance and I don't understand why the apartment complexes, including Mallard Park, are not required to get a CO from the borough every time they move in a resident. Is there an exception somewhere? And I understand that you might not have the answer at your fingertips, but that needs a little bit of research.
Irene.
Yeah.
Irene.
I'm here.
Okay, now what about Mallard Park with the COs?
Mallard Park, Penns Village, and Penns Grove Gardens. As far as I know, they are not paying for a CO every time a resident moves in and are not getting an inspection to make sure that the property is meeting all the codes. I couldn't find why they were accepted out of that requirement.
Okay, now Mallard Park was done last year. Ed did Mallard Park last year. And we finally got paid. We finally got paid last year from Maryland.
For what?
For the COs at Mallard Park.
Every time someone moves in, it gets inspected?
You
Not
can talk to Ed about it.
Not landlord
no, the
licensing.
the COs. No, it wasn't in a landlord license, and it was the COs. You can talk to Ed Ramsey if you need to know some things about Mallard and the village and the gardens. You can talk to Ed.
Okay, so are they paying for COs or are they not?
They were paying at Mallard Park, and they should be paying everywhere else. So just check with Ed on Monday.
I will give him a call.
I sent an email to Ed today and asked him, do we inspect Penn Village Apartments? And he said yes. I just checked it. That was the only answer. Knowing that, then I don't know why we're not going over there to check out their issues.
Love you.
And
so
is Ed on the call anywhere?
No, he's not.
Okay. Just
we'll
check
have
with
to talk. Yeah, on talk to him
check
about
with
the
him on
schedule.
Monday.
That
Yes,
may
check
be,
with him on Monday.
the reason I ask is that may be able to resolve their problem that they're having now, that Patricia was talking about.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
You're welcome.
I found it.
All right, Trish, you're back. You're good?
I'm so sorry. I apologize, Mayor and Council, for that disruption. I just have
Can
to
you
make
state
sure
your
my phone was
address?
safe.
No problem. Can you
Yes.
state your address?
Again, my name is Patricia Lockett. My address is 200 South Smith Avenue, apartment 500 here in Pennsgrove. As I was saying, Mayor, thank you so much for raising awareness to what's going on here in Penn Village and bringing that to the forefront of discussion. There are a lot of things that are going on here that need your direct attention. And if you could, you know, please make your presence known here, you know, like boots on ground, if you can, because us tenants are not being heard. We're not being communicated to. We're being denied resources to contact the proper housing owners. We're requesting for health inspections for mold and air quality testing. Only a select few units have received the air quality checks, and we have been denied mold testing upon several emails. Also, today I attempted to retrieve the results from my air quality test from Mammoth, which is a remediation and reconstruction company, and was ultimately denied that. And we had initially scheduled a meeting for 9/14 at 4 p.m. with Region 9 Housing to sit down and come to some type of resolution for this. However, after consulting with our rep, me as the president of the Tenants Association, we've been advised to reschedule the meeting that was set for September 14th at 4 p.m. with Region 9 until they are able to accommodate all victims and face them head on. We understand that there is COVID present, so we are also requesting that Penn Village and Region 9 Housing move the meeting to be able to accommodate the number of victims that are there because they need answers, and Penn Village and Region 9 Housing needs to take accountability. So I was hoping that you would be able to advocate for us and be present during these meetings because we really need you there. Also, I had a couple questions.
Okay, so to address your first comment, please let me know when your meetings are, okay? And Monday through Friday, I'm good after 4 p.m. So I can be there after 4 p.m. If it happens on a Saturday, I'm good any time of the day. Okay? Okay.
Also, I had a question for Mr. Mark Oliver.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mark. I have a question in regards to your comment made about the infrastructure study with the engineers. And you said that our current seawall level cannot withstand 12 to 14 inches of water that, you know, we may sustain from storms. And so I'm asking you this, knowing that we are a flood-prone city for many, many years, why this has not been addressed. And also you made the comment that there is, and I quote, nothing we can do to prevent that seawall. I mean, nothing that we can do to prevent that in regards to flooding.
What's your question?
If you can elaborate on that.
Okay.
Why the seawall is not equipped, knowing that we live in a flood-prone area.
Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of this term, 100-year flood, 100-year rainstorm. That rainstorm that we had was compounded by severe winds and high tides. And what I insinuated is that there's not many storm systems or drainage systems in most riverfront towns that would be able to handle that amount of water in that short a period of time. They're not designed to handle that. The situation, the problem with the seawall, the township doesn't own the seawall. The seawall is owned by each individual resident. In some cases, the seawall is deteriorated and they're not all at the same level. So it's not that it won't handle 12 to 14 inches of rain. That's just a term that I use because that's how much rain we got that night, but it was compounded with wind and high tides. We could get 20 inches of rain and handle it. It just depends on the situation at the time. So there's no answer to a 100-year flood, quote unquote, 100-year storm that we would get, very, very infrequently, that we would not be able to handle that. As far as the drainage,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off. Go ahead. You may continue.
No, that's all. Go ahead. That's my
Okay.
only analogy. The storm system that we have has some deficiencies that we're trying to get rectified. And the only way to do that, the best way to do that is to have some kind of study done to see what priorities, which lines need to be fixed.
Okay, so are the pumps working, or they're not working, or they only work when the electric's on? I'm trying to gain clarity on that. Echoing what Wave had said.
The pumps are working. There are some pumps. Most of the pumps have diesel generators or generator backups that when the power goes out, they kick on. In some cases, that hasn't happened. So we have somebody looking into that. That one pump on Delaware Avenue that didn't kick on. Otherwise, they do kick on with the electric off or on.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Could I add some to Mark's statement? What people aren't aware of is that most of the water is going towards the river from the land. And what it does is it gets blocked up at the river because the sluice gate closes and only the pumps can relieve the water from the land, that they pump over the wall into the river. And what Mark is saying is was an unusual amount of water, and that's correct. But when it came to Strong's Lane too, I inspected Strong's Lanes a couple of weeks before and found that the passive gravity feed system was plugged. And so the gate would never open ever. And that I just inspected it again, and I think Carney's Point went in there and they cleaned out the sand. It had 3 foot or almost 4 foot of sand inside that pipe. So the pumps, I was told by residents that the pumps had alarm, but I think it was a high water alarm, but I am not sure about that. But those
how can we
pumps there?
How can we get these pumps equipped with blockages as alarms as well? Because this is imperative. It seems like this 100-year storm somebody had mentioned in the comments, and I would like to echo that as well, is happening very frequently. Anywhere between 3 to 4 years, we're having major flooding. And even if we have a simple heavy downpour and we get more than 1 to 2 inches of water, we're at risk of flooding here at Penn Village. For the past couple of years, I have not been able, well, since Sandy and Irene, I have not been able to decorate and rest in my downstairs apartment. And so I'm just trying to figure out what types of systems and responses that we can put into place to prevent this.
That's why we have a study that's going to be done to see what recommendations an engineering company can give us to improve our system.
Let me recommend something, because we're way past the 3 minutes and we've got other people that need to make their comments. Mr. Oliver and Mr. Pasquale, it would be very great of you if you would speak with Trish and some of the other residents, because they need to understand, because people don't understand what's going on. So I think it would be great if you guys could work with her and to get that information out to the residents.
I'll try to learn as best we can, but I was disappointed there too, besides Trish.
Okay, Trish, if you can, matter of fact, if you can put your email address in the comment section, I'll grab it and I'll shoot it to Mr. Oliver and Mr. Pasquale, and they'll reach out to you. Okay, And that way, because you may
Thank you
have
so
more
much.
questions. Okay, and
Thank
let
you
me
so
know when
much
those
for your
meetings
time.
are. You're welcome.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, next, Mr. Valenciano.
Good
Oh, you're breaking up really bad. You
afternoon.
might be in a bad location.
Open your door.
Mr. Valenciano. Okay. Mr. Valenciano, we're going to move on to the next person. Raise your hand again, and then I'll come back to you once you
He's
get
trying to
your,
get in touch with you, Your Honor.
all right.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
He's trying to do his phone. 1 second. Sorry, we're on the car and it's connected to the car. He's outside trying to talk to you guys.
Okay, yeah, because it's really fuzzy and we can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now? I'm sorry.
Much better.
Hello, I think I went
Yep.
to a better.
Much
Okay,
better.
sorry about that.
No problem. State
Yes, Cesar
your name and
Valenciano,
address.
15 Somerset Lane. Cesar Valenciano, 15 Somerset Lane, Edgewater, New Jersey.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Yep.
Okay. So I have a question and then a comment. First question is, if I understood correctly, Mr. John Lento said that the sale was voided. I was never notified of a vote on that. Was I not supposed to be notified by something that there was a vote happening or the sale was going to be voided by a vote of some sort?
Question, and then I'll let Mr. Lento answer your question too. I know the last meeting that you were present, you were going to meet with Mr. Lento that following Monday at 9 a.m. Did you ever do that? Did you ever reach out to him? Did you ever call him or meet with him or anything to discuss this?
I absolutely did call his office. I never got a call back. And then I also called Mr. Lento the day before the previous meeting that was supposed to happen September 1st. He asked me to send him a copy of the email. I confirmed that he received a copy of the email. He said he was going to call me back by 5 o'clock the next day, and I never got a call back from Mr. Lento.
Mr. Lento?
Mr. Valenciano, we spoke the day before the last meeting, and unfortunately, in terms of going back to your initial question regarding whether there would be a vote or not, no, it was made public per the agenda. And regrettably, as I explained to you before, and as hopeful as I am that this can be rectified, we appreciate your involvement. It's void, as explained before. There's nothing more that can be done at the given time until it's addressed. Again, you're able to bid again at the given time, but there's nothing that can be done at this time, as previously explained.
Okay, so I guess, because I don't want to take up too much more time in this particular meeting, I guess will it be all right for us to have a separate conversation about this? Because I don't, nobody that I've consulted with about this seems to think that this is a process that normally follows any kind of like, I guess, precedence of some sort. I mean, again, I'm not a politician nor a lawyer. You follow? So, pardon me if I don't seem like I'm
asking, do you have an attorney?
I guess at this particular point, I need to go hire an attorney and have them handle it, is what I'm getting to. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to spend more money on these particular properties because I'm already $100,000 in, and I'm assuming if you're looking to avoid the sale, you're not looking to give me everything back that I've already invested in these properties.
It's not that we're looking to avoid the sale. It's necessary due to the circumstances. But if you do engage an attorney, please have him call me.
Okay, so I will definitely have an attorney reach out to you this week then.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
Okay. The next thing is I'm actually here in town because I have about 2,000 masks and about 100 face shields that I wanted to donate for the students of the school and the Senior Citizen Center, but I didn't know where to drop them off, but I guess I can do that at a later time. But I have masks that I wanted to donate because I have a client that has about 140,000 masks left, of one particular kind and about another 300,000 masks left of another kind. So I went ahead and I purchased a bunch of masks to donate to the town.
The town or to the school district? If it's the school district, you should contact the superintendent's office located on Iona Avenue. And for the senior building, they're governed by the Housing Authority at 40 South Broad Street in Penns Grove.
Okay, so I guess I could do that at a later time next week, or find somebody here who can do that for me Monday or Tuesday. Because I'm assuming they're not open tomorrow, right?
Oh.
Not on Saturday.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
I will,
Valenciano.
Okay, you're welcome.
That's very kind of you to purchase masks. Thank you. I'm sure the residents
You're
will
welcome.
appreciate that.
No problem. My pleasure, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Then we've got Mr. Hudson.
Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, state your name and your address, and you get 3 minutes.
All right. Good evening, Mayor. I have Walter Hudson, Penns Grove. I have a couple of things to address. First thing first, Mr. Councilman Oliver. A couple months ago in the primaries, I think that the community's spoken, and we spoken with our vote far as who we want to run the town and make progressive decisions to move the town forward, right? So it just still seems as though that instead of you trying to work with the mayor and council, rest of the council, it seems that you are trying to serve your own agenda, right? So instead of just bowing out gracefully, resigning, you still want to be a political nuisance, is what I call it, right? So, come November, you can't do nothing anyway. So it just goes to show that you're serving your own agenda. But that's okay, because we're going to be back at your house. Second point, Mayor, you've been the mayor for going on 9 months now, right?
Yes.
And I see what you're going through, so don't take this as a direct attack at you. But when we see crime happening in our community, and we have, officers like Lieutenant Spira, who continually try to abuse his power. And what I mean by that is, when I protested at Mark Oliver House, Lieutenant Spira called me prior to make sure his exact words was little protest or whatever he said, run okay. Then after I, protested, a day or two later, he shows up at my house with 2 tickets saying for noise or something, and then for not applying for a parade permit, which is a direct violation of my constitutional rights. That's why, just to give you a little history lesson, Mayor, that's why one of the reasons 3 body government was put in, because when local legislation and state legislation was impeding on or infringing on people's rights, then you went to the highest level, which is the executive level. That's where the Constitution falls at. The Constitution was put in place to protect people like myself, who used the First Amendment to assemble, a peaceful assembly. I do not have to fill out a parade permit, because it wasn't a parade. It's a protest. This is why, Mayor, we say Black Lives Matter. This is why, Mayor, we say F the police, because this is why people in this town do not want to work with your police department, for the simple fact that you have officers like Lieutenant Spira,
3 minutes,
who still wants to impede on people's rights. People's rights. This is why when they're shooting, people don't want to come forward to tell who. Because you have officers on the police force who are criminals themselves. And I'm sick and tired of this. Because when I protested with the killing of Moshawn, Mayor, I received the ticket and beat it. When I protested
Time's up.
against Anthony Minguez, I got a ticket. When I protested against Mark Oliver, I got a ticket, and I'm sick
Time's
of it.
up.
And your
Okay,
officers.
Mr. Hudson, your time is up, okay?
Time is up, Mr. Hudson.
And, well, that's fine. I will be back at your house, Mark Oliver. Trust me. And Mayor, I need you to speak to that. Why do your officers feel emboldened that they can still do that?
Time's up.
Mr. Hudson, we can have an outside conversation, but we got to move on to the rest of the people that want to speak. We'll be here all night having that conversation. So,
Okay, well,
okay, we
this
can
is
speak
not
about
going
that.
away. I'm gonna raise as much hell as I can.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Okay, we have, I don't know who this person is. Their phone number is ending in 084. Please state your name and address. You there, guest, whose phone number is ending in 084? You had your hand raised? Okay, is there anyone else from the public that'd like to speak before we close public session?
Yes.
Adjourn the meeting. Did someone say something? Hello?
Miss Mayor, can you hear me?
Now I
Can you hear me?
Yes, you
I'm
can.
trying to speak.
Okay, the person whose phone number is ending in 084, let's have them speak first because their hand's been raised for a long time, and then the second person you can speak after, okay?
Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right, ma'am, go ahead.
I'm not 084.
Okay, state your name and your phone number. I'm sorry, your phone number. Stay tired. State your name and address.
Sue Oliver, 20 Church Street, Penns Grove.
Okay.
I just wanted to make a comment in response to Greg's movie night that he's having. I think it's wonderful that he and his wife are doing that. But he did make a statement that they did not want to work backwards, which is why he did not purchase the insurance this time before getting approval. But what happened to the first night when he did not get approval, nor get insurance? So, I mean, like I said, I think it's wonderful that they're doing that, but, you know, he had it all over Facebook that, you know, he's trying to do something good and he had to go through all this red tape. And I mean, that's why there are rules. You know, rules are made to be followed. So I just wanted to make that statement that, you know, he's sounding tonight like, you know, he you know, didn't want to, you know, do things backward, but that was after the fact of the first scheduled one. The second thing I'd like to say is that I think it's very inappropriate that at the last meeting, Mayor, you allowed Walter Hudson to go on and on and on past his time when he was not only threatening my husband, Mark Oliver.
I wasn't even there
also,
last meeting.
I took that
I
as
wasn't
a
even there last meeting.
myself.
She's speaking, Mr. Hudson. Let Miss Oliver have her time.
Took that as a threat to me as well. But it is what it is. And then again tonight, he was allowed to go beyond the 3 minutes.
We gonna be back
So I
at
just
your
wanted to-
house.
Mr. Hudson,
Black
you have
Lives
to
Matter.
let her
We gonna
speak,
be back
please.
at
All
your
right.
house till he resigns.
Give me a second.
You gonna have to
Simple
mute
as
him,
that.
Mayor.
Okay, Miss Oliver.
That's basically it.
Miss Oliver,
If
to
I'm by
address.
myself, we gonna be back.
on.
Mark Oliver house.
So rude. But go ahead, Mayor.
All right. So to address your statement about allowing him to go beyond his time. So this Zoom meeting stuff, this technology stuff is very difficult, and it took me all that time to figure out how to mute and how to remove him. I muted him, which I said I will mute whoever. I will mute anybody. I also had to take the time to figure out how to remove him. So that's what took me so long. So I apologize it took me that long, but I had to figure out how to remove him. So that's why he was allowed to go as long as he did because I didn't know how to remove him. And I had to go into Zoom and look at the FAQs and figure all that out while he was saying what he was saying. So that's why.
Okay, well then what happened tonight? Because he went beyond the 3 minutes tonight as well and was doing basically the same thing he did as the last time. So it is what it is.
Right. Well, you know what? I allow pretty much everyone to go beyond their 3 minutes. I think that everyone had important things to say, but again, I did cut him off, and as you see, I just removed him.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we have someone else. Go ahead and speak. State your name and your address, please.
Okay, this might be me. This is Christine Scholler, 94 South Broad Street, Pensgrove. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. I did the right thing. I'm muted and you can hear me. Well, thank you, Ms. Mayor. I'll try to make this within the 3 minutes. To get an answer, that might be longer. But the questions I had or comments and concerns were, one, I guess, touching on what Wave had asked, something about the abandoned properties and a list of them. Because not only him, but I kind of said to you in the last meeting or previous meetings, there was an investor, not a fake investor, someone who is serious. You may or may not know them, but he wants to set up a meeting with you. But I'm trying to get a list of the properties and then a map that I can put to help you also. I don't know who would be in redevelopment committee would help to put, I'll do the dots and put the properties, the dots where the properties are. So even when they do go for sale, is the protocol going to be, how is it going to go up for sale when they do eventually? Individually, a list is given to the town, 30 days notice. Because I think it would be behooving us if we want to get property and money and taxes and stuff, not to give the properties away, not to give so many big abatements like the last time, which was not your fault, but to work a deal out with an investor who can improve the whole town with who's got the money, who's got the experience, who's done this before. So is it possible to set up a meeting with you and him, and I'll work on the map? And do you have a list? It doesn't sound like there is a list available yet of what the town owns and what we're going to sell eventually.
So yes, we can set up a meeting. In terms of like if there's any properties that you have questions about, I learned that they're public records, so you can look them up online. And if you need the link to look those properties up, I'd be happy to send it to you because I just received the link a few days ago, so I learned about that. And then also we post the notices in advance of the sales. So whenever properties are going up, we'll post them in advance so that the public knows what properties are going up for sale.
Right, but I mean, there is a list that's compiled already, or you want us to go, because I'm doing this for the town. I'm not doing this individually. I want to get this list and properties so we can discuss that at the meeting. If you choose to go with an investor or choose to hold on to the properties and sell them individually.
Right. Well, so what happens is once you put the list together, then the list is approved by resolution.
Right.
And once that a list is approved by resolution, then we post them up. So so I believe that this list, Lou does have a list now. I believe he said he got.
Somebody was working on it. I think I heard him right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the second thing was in a previous meeting, it was mentioned, and I don't know if there's an ordinance or not. Mr. Lento may have to find out. Is there an ordinance notifying the person on each side of that property that's abandoned? You were saying, or it was said on record, that they should have first priority to buying that property before it goes up for sale.
There is no ordinance. There is no ordinance, but we will be
Well,
discussing in closed session.
Oh, in closed session? Oh, so right now there's no ordinance involved? There's nothing on record?
Not that I'm aware of.
Can I make a comment? There is something, maybe not on the houses, but for the non-conforming lots. I thought the residents had to be notified for the non-conforming lots, not for the ones that have houses and stuff on it. They were supposed to give the first priority to get it.
Okay. So Mr.
It is
Lindo,
the lot.
yeah, it is only for lots.
It's the lots. If you're next to, yes, it's the
Okay.
lot.
So that's an ordinance that is on the books, and
For the lot.
I would,
Yes.
Lots,
so we would
not,
notice.
not the houses.
Right, not houses, right. Okay, and, okay, with the grounds and all these lots that are overgrown, that we own the property, and there's 3 employees that are cutting the grass, how can they possibly manage? And is there a budget that you are tied to, Miss Mayor, that we just don't have the money to hire people? Because that's making the town look horrible.
I know that Miss Mincy, she mentioned that I guess there was a stipend or some money that was set aside to have some of the properties cut in addition to the guys that are working for Public Works. So she's been working with another individual in the community to get those properties cut. So
Yep.
We will be doing the budget for next year, and that will be included in the budget. Or we may renegotiate that for our shared services agreement. So all that has to be addressed. So I understand what you're saying, and we're working on addressing that.
Okay, the other question, I know 3 minutes, ask the questions
Yes.
and then you can give me the answers afterwards, but
Yes.
is there a time schedule for businesses? Is it, when they get permits to have a business, are there certain hours? And if they go extend, is it like 9 to 5, or it depends on the business?
I don't know that answer. Does anyone on council know the answer?
No, that would probably be an ordinance, because I would think that it has something to do with business hours, it's usually 9 to 5 or 9 to 5.
Is the
And
clerk,
then if there's,
go ahead.
well, there might be businesses that are open later, it's true, but what's the latest time that businesses can be open in town?
You might want to check with the zoning official on that.
Yeah.
Christine.
The
Exactly.
zoning, they would know
Yeah.
that, okay.
Zoning sets up the times for how long a business can stay open.
Okay, so there's
Or
no
the
state,
planning board.
so there's no state governing hours?
No.
Okay,
I thought this was like a special meeting. It was gonna be short.
well, you know what? I'm just asking for simple questions to be answered.
No,
But
I
I can save that to the next one. I'm sorry you guys all have to stay up so late. It's really
Yeah.
crazy.
Thank
And
you.
I really give you guys a lot of credit. So you're doing a good job, everybody, and just hang in there, because you're going to get a lot of opposition, and there's not much you can do about it. So just everyone be respectful. That's all.
Thank
And
you, Ms. Scholler.
Thank you, hon. Thank you, council. Thank you, Mr. Lindo.
Thank you.
I think we
You're
had one
welcome.
more person that wanted to speak before we end this meeting.
Madam Mayor, I just wanted to address Miss Oliver, because she mentioned my name on here as far as the last time that we were planning it. If she's still in here, I hope she is still in here. Miss Oliver, are you still here?
I am.
Okay. Initially, me and my wife, we were going to work along with the Penns Grove Recreation Committee, as we have done in the past. So we was going to do the movie night in correlation with the Penns Grove Recreation Committee. But it was a lot of back and forth, a lot of unknown. So I'm all about following proper protocol. So the insurance wasn't purchased back then, because we were working along. Mr. Bakut actually made a comment that he didn't even think we could pull it off, if he's still on here. But this isn't our first event we have done. So we're well versed in putting things together. So now we were not working along with the Penns Grove Recreation Committee. So we were doing it on our own. That's the difference, if that answers your question.
Okay, but I guess that if you were working with the recreation committee, then someone should have made you aware, if you weren't already aware, that insurance needed to be purchased and also just that you needed to get the proper permission. That's all I'm saying.
The proper
I'm
permission.
not trying to make a big.
Well,
You have
I know you're not, but I like addressing and answering your questions so it's no gray areas. The proper protocol in the past, which I can applaud the mayor for following proper protocol now. In the past, that proper protocol wasn't followed. So us as a community, we didn't know what to do. I've been involved. I've seen people have different things over there, different events. No one ever had to go through all this, what I call, for lack of a better word, red tape. But it's a good thing that we're now following protocol. And I want to be the first one in line to follow proper protocol. And part of that was putting it on the agenda for the night. We canceled it. We canceled it so it wouldn't be no gray areas. And we put it on there tonight. And we'll follow all the proper protocols that's supposed to be followed.
Greg, most everybody that had anything in the park, they did fill out the paperwork, and it was on the agendas, and we normally said yes. So most of everybody did follow the rules that did have something in the park. Now, if they had something and we didn't know about it, then we didn't know about it. But most of the time, people did come and fill out the paperwork. They got the insurance or whatever they needed.
I can't speak for everybody else, but I know what the practice has been in the past when it concerns myself.
Well, see, I don't know.
Okay,
like
well,
I said, it's not the first rodeo, you know. So, I know what Miss Oliver. I know what Miss.
It's not an issue. I'm glad we're doing it the right way. We're trying to do something for the community and kids at zero cost to the borough. So this isn't something to go back and forth with. I just wanted to allow Ms. Oliver to know what the difference was and what's, like what has happened in the past. But I'm glad that we're following proper protocol. That's what having government is all about. So we don't have an issue with that.
And everybody should. Everybody should. So I understand what she's saying because, somebody else could say, well, Greg and his wife didn't get the insurance, so we shouldn't have insurance.
Nah, the
insurance,
what I mean? So the insurance was always going to be purchased. That wasn't even an issue.
Right.
But we were working along.
we're just talking. No, but it's just the point where she's saying she's making a good point because you got to let the people know. You know what I mean? So because people think somebody else is getting over and then somebody else can have something, and then like Mr. Mike said, the park was closed, so the kids can't play basketball. So I don't know if it's signs out there stating that they can't go in or whatever reason. So, when they see your event, we'll hear that after the fact, even though the kids will be over there. But then what happens to the kids that want to play ball?
I don't like to look at it, and please don't use those words, my event. No, when I do something.
Well, it's the town. We'll put it like this, Greg, the town event.
Hey, you guys.
For the people.
Hey, you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
We need to cut this off because we need to end this meeting because I am exhausted, and I'm sure everyone else is too.
I am too because we done went too long.
Yes, an hour and a half too long.
Debbie, you ain't doing nothing anyway. What you exhausted for?
Walter, let me tell you something. And Mayor, don't cut me off. Walter, I done had enough of you. You need to be quiet.
I'm gonna make
You need to be quiet. Block him, Mayor.
You
ain't doing nothing.
Block him. You're not doing anything. You need to get a job. You're not doing nothing.
Okay, Ms.
So
Scott.
you need a job.
Ms. Scott, let's make an adjournment. Let's make a motion.
No, don't cut me off, Mayor. You don't cut him off. Cut his butt off.
Well, if you want to sit on here, Ms. Scott, and argue with him, we're leaving.
Cut him off. Council has to say. Council has to say
motion
here.
to adjourn the meeting.
Count
Yeah,
him off.
but I run the meeting, and I don't want to sit on here anymore. And I just removed him, Ms. Scott.
Motion
I mean, we already
to adjourn the meeting.
motion to adjourn the meeting. May I have a second?
Second.
You have to close the public portion.
Motion to close.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.
Mayor, send me Trish's phone number or email or whatever.
Okay.
Okay. I didn't get it on there, but I missed it.
God, I ain't
Please
even.
tell the mayor that I'm done with Zoom.
All right. Thank you. I'll forward it to you, Lou.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.